You get some great adventures that are thrown in, and a few life lessons here and there, and some magnificent classic songs, and the character of Jiminy Cricket, who propels everything along right there. And there you have a motion picture masterpiece. Unless you're kind of extremely well versed in the technological things that are going to happen after the fact, it can really screw you up. You could just not make, you can, like just drowning, just swimming in water or spinning something. It's like, okay, here's what we have to do, Tom. You have some version of, we have to suspend you upside down, which won't look like it when we have it. You have to have a mouthful of this water, then have to spit it right there, but you can't spit it that way, you have to spit it that way. And you have to wait for a very specific moment when you do it. So it's like, this is like some sort of like technical requirement, but my job, and luckily Bob's trust, is I'm going to make it look so real that you're not even going, it's going to seem real to me. So I understand it. Thanks for the explanation. Now let's do it 17 times till we get it naturally right. And sometimes it takes 17 times. He's not wishing for riches. He's not wishing for $1 million. And he's just wishing to be able to love and be loved by a family member. I mean, my Lord, is there a more primal desire of anybody on the planet Earth than what Geppetto goes for? Yeah, I guess you could say, he hopes that he will not live the rest of his days alone, and so therefore wishes to have a real son. That's about as perfect a wish as you're going to have for anything. Because it's all about being loved and having someone to love. It's beautiful. It's fabulous. I think Geppetto is very much in touch with who he is, what he lacks, what he's good at, what he once had, what he's lost. And he's learned all the lessons, but he's an old man. Pinocchio is young, so he's a kid. But he accumulates that knowledge, and out of that knowledge, he knows what is right, what is wrong, and he becomes true to himself by the school of hard knocks. I guess the lesson of a movie like this, Pinocchio, is like, pay attention when you're enrolled in the school of hard knocks, and try to come out of there with at least a bachelor's degree. He comes from the deep. That's it. He comes from a deep, dark place. Is he there? Is he not there? You're not really sure. Is he gone away? You have no idea, because that unfathomable depths of the ocean, we have no knowledge of what goes on there. So when he shows up, it's a total surprise, and he's scary, and he's scary because he comes from seemingly nowhere, but actually he's down on his familiar turf. And knowing that you're on his familiar turf, that's scary.
Well, Jiminy Cricket is the conscience of Pinocchio. If only we all had a conscience that could actually raise its voice and tell us things in words. It's not always so clear what's right and what's wrong. And I guess we all spend our whole lives trying to figure that out. If only we all had, a cricket with a nice friendly voice to tell us the answer. Yeah, I remember asking Bob Zemeckis, the director, what do you want to do with the voice, Bob? Like, are you doing the same voices as from the original movie, or do you want something totally different or something in between? And he said, I don't want it to be exactly the same. You shouldn't imitate the original voice, but I want it to be, have some connection, have respect, and be a bit of an homage to the original voice, which is so iconic. And then he said to me, he said, Joe, you have kids, right? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, so just do the voice. Like, when you tell your kids stories, do you do voices? I was like, yeah, of course. And he was like, okay, so just do the Jiminy Cricket voice how you would do if you were a dad telling your kids the Pinocchio story. And that's what I did. He's one of those filmmakers that really kind of carries the torch of the golden halo days of Hollywood, when movies were the primary form of cultural expression, and with good reason, because there's just so much artistry and skill and fun in them. And so pairing Robert Zemeckis with this classic story of Pinocchio is sort of a match made in heaven. To me, the most important thing to preserve about Pinocchio is that moral of the story, that you tell the truth, and how important it is to tell the truth, and what happens to you if you start telling lies. Your nose gets big. Like, as long as that image and that kind of metaphor that connects to the moral of the story is in, then to me that's Pinocchio.
Almost edge to her, but there is a warmth in her as well. He wanted this beautiful mix of qualities in this one character, and I liked the challenge of being able to do that. We still wanted to keep the blue, but we wanted to make it feel magical all the way around. So everything from the makeup to the hair, there are crystals in my hair and crystals on my ears, and I was able to keep a lot of my piercings in. We just replaced it with really beautiful earrings that the costume designer made, actually, and she was so much fun because we sort of tried loads of different things about what could work and what might not, and the dress is just layers and layers of silk, and it wanted to feel ethereal and whimsical and as fairy-like as we could possibly make it. I just wanted for anyone to hear it, to understand that dreams can come true, and that I believe that as well. When you listen to the song, I want you to believe that I believe what I'm singing. So that was the approach, really, just to be as truthful as possible. That's really all this is about. Most of the job that I do, or we do as actors or singers, is to try and tell the truth, and that is whether you're on a set, on a stage, or singing a song, and this was no different. I wanted whichever adult or whichever kid happens to hear this song to also think, oh, maybe she might be right, maybe dreams come true if you wish upon a star. As Cynthia, I would encourage people to dream, and I encourage people to wish and to believe in it and to offer up those wishes and dreams to the universe. And as the Blue Fairy, I get to do that as well. And I think it's really wonderful, because I think partially it's me in that film going, do it, you should wish and you should dream because it's possible.
It's a coming-of-age story, and it's a story about maneuvering through the perils of life. And I think that's what makes it a universal and timeless story. And by having a main character who isn't 100% human have to deal with that, it makes it a fable or a parable, but it's a universal story. It's coming of age. I think that's what makes it so popular. I think Pinocchio is about learning that you're not perfect and that you make mistakes, and everyone makes mistakes, but you can rectify those errors, and you can change, and you can basically become a person of character. And I think that's what the universal theme of Pinocchio really is. In the original movie, there is sort of an underlying theme of in the Geppetto story of longing and some loss. And in the original movie, they couldn't go into real depth with an animated character. So when we have a live action character, and then of course a great actor like Tom Hanks, we went much deeper in that story and put many more layers into what kind of melancholy feeling that Geppetto may have had, which spurred him on to want to create, I guess you could say, a companion, something that, an entity that reflected maybe some loss in his past. And so that's kind of what we layered in this version of the film. The first time I heard Cynthia sing Wish Upon a Star was at Abbey Road when we recorded the first, I guess you would call it, guide track for what it was that we were going to do. And it was magnificent, of course, and I was happy with the first take, and then, Cynthia did many takes after that, tweaking things that she wanted to fix, but I thought they were all magnificent from the get-go. They were all beautiful. The main trick of combining an animated character and a live-action character is always in the performance of the live-action character. The live-action character has to absolutely believe that character he's talking to or listening to is where his eyes are. And so he has to really act for two in that moment, if you will. And it's seen in the live action character's performance, his belief that the character is there. That's what makes it work, because you could have the most beautiful animation, but if it looks like the live action actor is looking through the character and not really looking at the character, then the illusion won't work.